Hey. Hope everybody's doing good. Carl Bryan coming at you with my boy Pat Bell. Yo, Pat. What's happening, buddy?
Hey, hope everyone's doing great. I'm doing great over here, over in Nairobi, Kenya, settling
That's
in
in,
and dreaming high, dreaming big,
these
I
little,
should say, not
this
high.
is it. Yeah, there we go. In Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't we all like to be in Kenya about now?
It's
He's
actually kind of
dodging
horrible. It's
hippos.
like 75 degrees every day and sunny. And in Nairobi, it's cool. Like every night it's cool. It gets down to about 65. No
Oh, does it?
humidity.
Yeah.
So
Cools right
yeah,
now.
it's really nice. Yep.
I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'll tell you what. We got a little bit of a skeleton crew here, folks. And guys, we'll see how the Q&A goes, but Pat and I need to jet out at about 1:45. Just FYI,
Right.
we've got a certified meeting for our invitation-only group afterwards. So just a little FYI. But why don't we say, as per always, guys, as you guys know, this is a Q&A call. You guys provide the Q, we provide the A. If you got any questions for us, either put up your hand or plunk the question in the box. And in the meantime, let's open up a couple folks. Speaking of exotic locations, let's go to Courtney Lodge. Courtney, we're coming for you, buddy. You got yourself muted. So if you want to say hello, you got to unmute yourself. Courtney Lodge, where are you? Okay, being shy, or maybe it's not working. Who knows? But there we go. Courtney, you're live.
There we go. Hello.
What's happening?
Hello.
We got
I'm hearing
Jamaica,
about
Kenya, and Canada on the
yes,
line. There
yes.
we go, folks. Hey, what's
So
happening in Jamaica?
sounding like Jamaica is a mini Kenya in terms of weather, climate. Yes. Great.
Would that be about right, Pat? Pat, would you say that? Would that Jamaica be along the
I
lines
think,
of
yeah,
weather
it's more
patterns?
humid there. More humid in Jamaica. So
Yes, as an
we're,
island,
we're
definitely.
yeah, well, we're here at almost 6,000 feet in Nairobi, so it's a lot cooler.
Beautiful.
There we go.
So, Courtney, give us the
Yes.
101. And if you got a question for us, hit us. And other than that, we got lots of coaches in here listening. Let's inspire them with the level of activity that you got going.
All right. So of course, as everyone has said, who's engaged with the PAS, it's an awesome system. The difficulty that I'm having, the biggest two difficulties, and that's what I want to share. The
Yep.
first one is that for the most part, the persons with whom I've done the PAS assessment, as opposed to wanting to hire me to coach them, they want to hire me for jobs in their companies. They're like saying, this is awesome. If you can have this stuff, we want to engage you as a full-time employee. So
Yeah.
that's a major challenge. Is anyone else having that type of experience, or have you heard of that?
It's ridiculously common. Good news, Courtney. All you got to do is adjust your approach a little bit. You got to take that away from them early on. It's very similar to, I think we actually talked about this ironically in the last few weeks on this, but like a personal trainer, right? If a personal trainer ran around and just sold a magic pill that would have people lose, 10, 15 or the desired amount of weight, the ridiculous percentage would take the pill. The reality is that which is better, or you hire the personal trainer and the personal trainer offers to jump on the treadmill for you, right? It's so ridiculous as I say it, I know, but if people could buy that option, they'd go for that option, they'd look at it. Or another example, in fact, I think this is from the Facebook group I put in, the first thing that people look, when somebody buys a car, the first question is what? How much, right? The last thing they buy on is what? Is the price. Or I don't know that I would say it's the last, but they absolutely buy on value, right? They buy, if they can't afford a $80,000 car, then they stick with, 50, but they start looking at 40 and then end up buying 60, right? Why? Because it was just better value, the right color, the right kilometers, the right this, the right that, the right warranty. So your job, just accept that that's what they're all going to be thinking. And that's just the automatic, what do you call it? That the magic pill. But you just explain to them that, look, if I get on the treadmill, I get all the muscle. So
That's right.
you couldn't, unless if you want to pay me, look, if you can afford to pay me $500,000 a year, let's sit down and put pen to paper and start knocking this out. And guess what? Now they can't afford you, but they're like, oh God, but we have to have them. How do they get you? Better. You're going to get me for a pittance of that. But what I'm going to do is provide the strategic direction, the X's and O's. And quite frankly, if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't pay me the $500,000. I would agree to my $2,000 a month consulting fees. Let me give you guys the muscle, and you're going to pay me for 12 months, but you get the value for the next 10 years. Right. And it's not just the revenue that you increase the value of their company, which they can one day sell, and they're currently not on a path. So anyway, so do you see how, so the gap is education. Your job is to explain it in such a way that you are not on offer. That's never going to happen unless, again, you want to talk about $500,000 or whatever number you feel appropriate, but it has to be an enormous number for the guy you're sitting with. So that's the answer. Just feel comfortable. It's education, but take it away from them early. So as an example, I sit down with people and 9 times out of 10, they offer me a job. But the bad news I have to give them is that, look, I come with a $500,000 price tag, so you're probably not going to be able to afford me. So then we do X, Y, Z, and you start talking about all the successes you've had with your clients and some of the very easy wins that you've helped them put in place, and the massive financial windfalls they've had as a result. So that helped.
And I suppose my question really was a way of saying that this PAS is an awesome credibility builder. So, we really have no excuses anymore in terms of, what's our track record and all of that. Once we take them through the PAS and they see that, they are sold.
Yep. This 100%. And there you go. So then the way to say it, so you take it away early, right? You just say, as an example, this is what I get every time. And then I got to give them the bad news that I'm not on offer. You just like what I said a minute ago, right? $500,000, yada, yada, yada. And then they're in their head, they realize that this isn't an option, and they keep pounding. So that's it.
Thank you.
Makes sense? Cool. Yep. Actually, I wonder if Michael Reger, just earlier, and here's another example, a little bit different, Courtney, but I think it'd be benefit to you and everybody listening. Here's another little sales, I don't know if it's a sales trick, but it's a process that I use that works with ridiculous consistency. And it just literally worked this morning. I was helping out one of our coaches. And just at the beginning of it, so Courtney, you're thinking about buying. I go through the process, and it's time to close, and I'll ask you this question. So, Pat, could you have a look and see if Michael Reger is here, please? And I just say to you, Courtney, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? Okay, and then you give me the number, right? 7.5. And then I say, with again a level of confidence that is going to be, to them is going to be very attractive. I'll say. I say, Courtney, how would you like me to take you to a 10? Like, what can you say that, right? And just think of the confidence that statement kind of brings out. So I say, Courtney, how would you like me to take you to a 10? And then you kind of giggle, and then I introduce my price, and that's it. And I say, so I would normally be $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year. I just showed you $100,000, and we've been ripping through this thing for 35 minutes. Here's what I'm willing to do. And remember, good business owners make hard decisions quickly. So what do you think? And then I introduce my price. And let's say you're $2,000 a month. And then I feel like this guy's not quite at the level where he could afford me at $2,000 a month, or just my spidey instincts say that this guy's not going to say yes to, $2,000 a month. I'd go, here's my mafia offer. And again, taking you from a 7.5 to a 10, we say yes right now. Remember, good business owners make hard decisions quickly. Month 1, I'll do it for $500. Month 2, I'll do it for $1,000. Month 3, I'll do it for $1,500, and then $1,997 ongoing.
Right.
What do you think? And, either pull the trigger. But the X factor of what I just did, I'm at the process where I'm ready to start closing, and I say, Courtney, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And that will give me a good indication as to where you're at. And by the way, you might say 5.5, 6, and then I'm probably not going to bring my Mac Daddy. This guy probably needs to go away, or gal needs to go away and think about it a little bit more. Or I got to continue to educate and continue to go through a process, because I've got to get you to about a 7.5 or an 8 to be able to close you on the spot.
Right.
Make sense? That's a really powerful closing technique. Where are you at?
Very good. So I'm making notes. Thanks for that.
Pat, hang on before you go. I just want to, Pat, what do you, anything you'd add there, bud?
That's so good. Thank you. That's great. And Michael Rager's not here. So.
No? Okay, that's cool. No problems. But literally the process that I just explained literally did that. And, bingo, bango, bongo. It's just, the guy's like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? He's like, and actually, I can't even remember, but he actually said 8, not 7.5. The guy said 8. And then I just delivered it. And he literally, as I said it, he started to laugh, right? And when he started to laugh, I knew we got him, right? Like, let's do this. But, and that being said, everybody listening, like, the offer we put to him was one that he really shouldn't have said no to, right? And the guy's looking for help. He's looking for some direction, yada, yada, yada. And we just literally closed it on the spot, right? Boom. So anyway, so there you go. And that's the process. So there you go, Courtney. Great question, bud. I hope that helps.
Thank you. And just a little tidbit before I go. Jamaica is the 3rd largest English-speaking country in the Western Hemisphere, behind the US and Canada. And Jamaica is the 2nd honeymoon destination spot in the world, behind Hawaii. So just a little tidbit for you.
Is that right? Yes. There we go. Well, dang, Courtney, we learn something new every day. Shoots, I love it.
So, hey, Carl. Hey, Courtney, listen, when I was engaged to my still bride of 30 years, I flew into California from Europe, where I was working, and she picked me up at the airport, and she started singing this Beach Boy song. I'm like, what's going on? And she goes, I signed you up for your tuxedos for the wedding, and we won the Northern California prize of 7 nights in Sandals Resort in Jamaica for our honeymoon.
Oh, no way.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought, I'm marrying the right girl.
Yes.
How did you?
Yes, definitely.
Pat, what, you guys won it, did you say?
Yeah, we won it. We were Northern California winners from the tuxedo place.
Awesome.
Oh, from the the place that you rented the tuxedos. Oh my God, yeah. That's pure gold, dude. Well done, man. Well done. Well, Courtney, there we go, man.
There we go. So Pat, you can now vouch for everyone that Jamaica will be the location for the Business Mastery Conference in 2022.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
I would actually be quite open to that.
Yeah. So Courtney, you know what you got to say to me is, Carl, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at in terms of changing the destination from Cancun to Jamaica? Oh, I love it. There you
right
go.
back to you. Where are you at, Carl?
You can't never. I just took it away. You can't do it now. It's not going to work, man. It's not going to work. Awesome, Courtney. Appreciate you, man. Right, Great question.
Thank you, guys. Great, sure.
Yeah.
No worries, buddy. Going to put you back on mute. Good job. Good job. Okay, let's go down. My boy Tom's got a question. The doctor of. Hang on. Let's open him up here. Tom, we're coming for you, buddy. There he is. Tom, you are live. How's it going?
Terrific, everybody. How are you guys?
Great, buddy.
Really good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the question. Just curious to know, as I've been playing around with the software, is there a way for me to populate all the numbers from one of the assessments into all the rest of them for the same company?
No, not at this time, because they're completely different assessments.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah, they don't. Each assessment doesn't talk to each other. Is the problem?
Right. Okay. Is that something that's in the works for the future?
Not right now. We've got so many things going right now that, I mean, It would actually be pretty difficult, I think. Let's say you had, I mean, if you do a jumpstart 12 and you come up with, say, 5% over 5 different areas, I wouldn't advise actually just to even do it, because when you go through the deep dive, you come through so many different questions that will help you have other insights.
Right.
I would really recommend starting again. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. I understand. Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
no worries,
sure.
buddy. Any other question for us, Tom?
Not on the software, no.
So it's the difference of going through 5 basic questions versus 25, 30, 40, 50 questions.
Yeah.
And you're going to find so much more insight on that company if you do the deep dive. And that's why it's called a deep dive. So yeah, you could do a surface number. And if you wanted to just go surface, it'd be pretty easy to set that up and just come to the area of impact, the first area of impact, and you plunk in your 5%, and then you close it off and say, okay, I've done that. We're not going to touch it again. I wouldn't recommend you do that.
Right. Okay. No, I get the rationale for it, and I totally understand it. That's perfect.
Sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay,
Hey,
guys,
Tom, thanks, buddy. We appreciate you, bud. There he is. He's on mute. Anybody else got a question? We're going to open up a couple folks here. Let's go to Don Evans. I'm in the same city as Don Evans at this moment in time. Don Evans, you're self-muted, buddy. There he is. Don,
Good day,
you are
sir.
live, my friend. What's happening?
Thank you. Thank you for using my real name.
It's boring. Donnie, hang on. What is it again? Remind me. Hang on. We got a new one for you.
I forgot.
Remind me.
I
No,
forgot.
you
Carl. I'm sorry.
You haven't forgot. What is it? Oh, I'll think of it. I'm going to think of it. That's okay. How's it going, Don? Give us the 101.
Very well. Thank you. Yes, good day. I had a couple of conversations with some digital marketers this morning, so I'm looking at how to pursue that angle.
All right.
I have no
good
questions.
stuff.
I am not the Q or the A. I'm simply here as an I out of interest. Wondering what
Okay.
Pat's got up his sleeve.
Well, I got stuff up my sleeve.
Does he ever? Let me tell you, Don, he's never not got something up his sleeve, this boy.
I know.
And by the way, Don,
Nice
I'm in
short
Calgary.
sleeves.
I got here yesterday, and this isn't a surprise to anybody who knows me very well, but I got off the plane in Calgary, which is in Fahrenheit. I don't know what it is, but it's close to, I don't know, it's like minus 15. So it's just like bloody cold. What's that in Fahrenheit? Pat, what's that in Fahrenheit?
Oh, I'll just convert it quick.
Like it's cold.
No,
Yeah.
that's not cold, Carl. You've been in Kelowna too long.
Yeah. So I got off the plane and I got no jacket. I'm just wearing a sweatshirt and I'm like, I'm
5
here.
degrees.
And what is it in Fahrenheit?
It's 5 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, geez, there you go. So there you go. So I jump off the plane. I got basically wearing my Vans and wearing a sweatshirt, and I got picked up, and they're like, "You're crazy." Anyways, it's bloody cold here, Don. That's what I'm trying to say. But enjoyable
Well,
to be in
remember to put my coat on when I go out then. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, all good. Okay, Don. Well, we appreciate you, man. Are you gonna tell? Well, come on. Remind me what the new nickname is. Why can't I remember? Donnie, what?
Dancing Donnie.
Dancing Donnie. There we go. Dancing Donnie from Calgary. We're going to put you back on mute, buddy. All right. There we go. Now you guys know why he didn't want to tell me. There you go. All right. Who else are we going to open up here? We need some questions here, folks. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to surprise you guys. How about Tony Plies? My boy, Tony. Tony, we're coming for you, buddy. You are on mute. And again, guys, you got a question, just raise your hand or chuck it in the box. So what tends to happen is we start slow on the questions and then we finish fast. If you can do us a favor and plunk that question in now, that would be great. And Tony, you are live. Tony, we can't hear you. Tony. I think you must be muted at your end there. Okay, we'll keep them. We'll see if we can get this going. What about Urshel? Let's go to Urshel Metcalf. If that's not a good football name, I don't know what is. Audio dropped out. Okay, Tony, we'll put you back on mute, buddy. Okay, Urshel, we're coming for you. Urshel Metcalf. You are self-muted, my friend. You got to unmute yourself if you want to say hi. Maybe get a question for us. If you don't have a question, maybe you're going to inspire these fine folks with all the activity that you've got cooking. There he is, Urshel. You're live.
Awesome.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. I may have raised my hand on accident, but.
No, you didn't. No, we just.
Oh, okay.
Punked you. See what's happening.
So the first question that I have is not in reference to the software, but some of the items from some of the presenters I wasn't able to watch live, and there were some additional things that were going to be available to download. And has that been made available yet, or have I missed it?
Yeah, just if you go to where the recordings are, if there was a download, it'll just be underneath the presentation, I would imagine. But you could ask Adrian; he'll be able to tell you. So, okay. Have you gone to the recordings yet? Have you been in there?
Yes, I've gotten through. I think I have 2 left that I wasn't able to do live, okay. And of course it doesn't go without saying, because all good things should be said. Just amazing, and it's kind of an embarrassment of riches as far as the number of things that are applicable. And I had a great conversation today with the Chamber of Commerce. It's a Veterans Chamber of Commerce for the state of Texas. And so I'm going to be onboarding the ELMS as a recruiting tool for them.
Awesome.
So that's a great thing. And as far as the software, I've been having really good success with it. And I know in the last couple of weeks, some changes have been made, especially as far as the reports. One thing that I may not have found, as far as, especially for the deep dive appointments, is there anything that will, that allows us to send to them to get some preliminary information, or is that something that you don't recommend, just maybe to pre-populate before a meeting? Or is that something that we should really just do all in person?
Pat, what do we have there? We have the audit. Are we?
That's right.
No,
what do we got there, Pat?
We don't have anything that formally, anyway. I mean, we've got files of different questions we ask, and I know people have things that they want to pre-qualify a candidate or a prospect, So I think we don't have anything formally. I think you could make a list of questions you would like to know. Like the most obvious question is, how much money is your business making?
Right.
Or what's your annual revenue, or however, because I mean, I've gone to appointments and I find out they're making 40 grand a year. I'm like, I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And how do I get out of here as quick as I can? So yeah, I think you want to know those kind of things. I think there's some questions you should ask. There's some questions in the software that you could go through, and I know in the valuation section there's a great question. I love this question. Are your marketing and sales processes documented so that sales are predictable? And the most obvious answer would be no, but that's what they're looking for, and that's what they want from you.
Right.
Other questions you could ask are in the success questionnaire. You have the capacity to handle a sudden influx of new customers. Usually the answer is yes, though on one occasion I did have a client say, no, I don't. I'm like, oh, what the heck am I going to do? Because my specialty was really at the time, I'm just going to, marketing and sales, bring in new customers. And so I didn't want that client anyway, but that would be a good thing to find out ahead of time. But it also kind of gets them excited, because it's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. So he must know how to do it if he's asking the question. Are you coachable? Great question. Or how hungry are you? Great question there. Things like that. What industry are you in? they might not tell you their net and gross profit margins ahead of time. I would let them know though that you're going to be asking for it at the first meeting, and to come prepared for that at the first meeting. They might not want to give it to you ahead of time though.
Right, right. Okay, and then one thing, and this is with the software, but also a little bit more as far as strategy. I have a meeting coming up, and this is an area where I'm planning to see if I can develop a strong focus and niche, and that's with elective surgery doctors, plastic surgeons. I have one with a plastic surgeon coming up in about a week, and her biggest problem, I already asked that, is that she's around my age, she's 50 years old, extremely successful, and she's too busy, and she's thinking about moving out of the country. And she hasn't thought about selling her business, and she actually hasn't even considered that as an option. So I know she's going to have a great valuation. She's in Reno, Nevada, and she's a plastic surgeon, and she might be the only one there. And she looks like every plastic surgeon's dream. I mean, the girl is, she's got a 20-something-year-old daughter, and you can't tell which one is the mom or the daughter. And she's absolutely phenomenal practice. And so, I'm assuming as we get into this conversation, where I can maybe start talking to her about building up her valuation and thinking about exit, thinking about selling her business. And what are some of the tools in the PAS that will be helpful for working in that direction?
Actually, Pat, let me jump. I want to jump in there. Actually, I want to answer the last question just here real quick. One of the things we just created, hopefully you've seen, if you go to your ELMS and you go your domain name /prep, PREP, we create a video that you send to the business owner. So rather than the questionnaire, you send that. There is it's a gray, it's not black and white, but if you were to ask me, did I send business owners questionnaires before I showed up? The answer was no, because invariably they would never fill it out. And then that created that dynamic for when I showed up wasn't ideal. So that being said, getting them to go and fill out an application, there's another school of thought that if they're not going to go and fill that out, then they're probably not going to be the best client, and they might not say yes, to your $2,000 a month or above coaching fees. But it's one of those ones that I would encourage you kind of explore. We do have what I used to use as a sales and marketing audit. And if you ask Adrian to direct you to that, he'll be able to help you out. But I know some of our coaches have used that as a little bit of a questionnaire before showing up. So you might want to leverage that. And then also what Pat just showed you with the success gauge. And what I would do is just encourage you to experiment with it and then just see where you end up in terms of what your process is. But what I would do is I would personally say, look, I don't need any, I do need to know your revenues, your gross profit margin, and your net profit margin. So please have those three numbers ready when I get there on Tuesday. No real homework for you to do, but I do need you to go and watch this 20-minute video, and I'm going to send you a link, and please make sure that you watch that before we sit down. All right, so that's the way I'd position it. That's what I would use, and I think that will put you in a really strong position when you get there, right? So that's why we created that video. And now so now does that make sense? You follow that?
Absolutely.
Agree with that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool. So then your next question, so cosmetic surgeon, gosh, first of all, it's the same process for all of them. If she wants to sell her business in a perfect world, what she needs to do is kind of, metaphorically box it up a little bit, because she's, obviously super good looking and no doubt charismatic as heck. Unfortunately, as soon as she walks out the door, they lose that charisma and they lose the good looks, right? And that can be, so you know what I mean? Which is good, bad, and different, doesn't matter. It just is. So she wants to make sure, is her lead, what is her, does she have a campaign that she's using on Facebook, right? And then does she have it, laid out in something like a Word document that is totally dummy proof for the next person that comes in, right? Okay. Does she have 3 formalized offers that she has used. Like if you're a cosmetic surgeon, depending on what kind of surgery is she doing, like mommy makeovers or what's she doing?
She does the mommy makeovers. And that's really kind of her major thrust. And like a lot of the plastic surgeons that I've looked at so far, the practice is her. And so she's the only doctor. And I've seen that in several cases.
Yeah, so that's, again, this is, okay, you just answered a major challenge that she needs to get. She needs to remove, like, there's an argument to say that she doesn't, like, why sell it? Why not bring in, well, look, let me just tell you a real quick business sort of model or strategy that works really good. You got a service space. Let me just play out a scenario. And she was on her way towards this before you showed up. I use a chiropractor just because I'm very familiar with it. Chiropractor's 30 years old, goes into practice. 35, really starting to make his mark. 40, he's crushing it. 45, he's paid off his house, got some money in the bank. His stocks are built up. At 50, he goes, I want to start golfing. He starts golfing 3 times a week. He's now got a practice that's operating 2.5 days a week. The numbers reflect that. In other words, they used to be X and now they're half of X. And then at 55, he goes, shoot, I should sell this thing. And then he sells a part-time chiropractic business. Okay. So she was on that trajectory, right there.
Right.
Okay. So solution, that's the problem. What's the solution? Here's the solution. Everybody thinks they need to own 100%. They think that they need to own 100% of their company and they don't, right? So what you do is the chiropractor, he's 30, 35, 40. At the age of 40, he brings in the 30-year-old version of him, which is a guy going to networking, going out, doing back talks, doing speaking, rustling up business. So that guy hits X milestone, right? Let's say like he does $500,000 of trade or something like that, or he puts $100,000 cash or whatever the number is. Let's just use $100,000 in, and now he owns 10% of the company. Okay. Well, you took him from a chiropractor to a business owner. If you've ever heard me riff on, there's 4 things that motivate people: rank, recognition, prizes, money. Money is fourth by design, not by accident. Number 1 is rank. You just took the guy from a chiropractor and turned him into a business owner, right? So now he's going to go, to the dinner parties with his wife and the Christmas parties and the networking groups. And he's going to now present himself as a business owner instead of a chiropractor. It's one of the greatest gifts he just gave that guy. And the guy legitimately owns 10% of the company, which could be a lot. So he now owns 10% of the company. And now he hits another milestone, let's say $1 million or whatever it is. He now owns 25% of the company. And then, by the way, you get another guy who comes in and you give him 10%, at X milestone or X check. He owns 10%. You've got 3 owners in the company now. Let's just say they both own 20%. So he owns 60. His 2 guys own 20. And then he turns 55. And guess what he says? Guys, I'm out of here. Right? What do you want to do? Like, do you guys want to buy this, or I'm going to sell my 60% to somebody else? You now potentially have a bidding war between the 2, because they both want to own it, or they both agree to go 50-50. But basically, the person who you sell it to is your number 1 customer, your number 1 staff member. You go straight to those folks. So do you see the way? But you got to think of this strategically. And she's a little bit late for this because she's already thinking about getting out of Dodge. But you see how you see how with a 10-year plan, that makes sense at a ridiculous level.
Yeah.
So if I were her, I just riffed into that. I don't know if I would sell 100% of the business. Like, she doesn't need to, she might want to sell 25% of the business, bring somebody else in. She's looking for, again, a 30-year-old version of herself. She could mentor that person, stick around for 18 months, mentor that person. She could go to where she wanted to go, own 75% of her practice, and go live for 3 years where she wanted to live, and then see how it plays out. So that's not the stuff you're going to find in profit acceleration software, but do you see how that could be really helpful? Like,
absolutely.
So that's what I'd kind of recommend versus, or again, she can just sell 100% of it, but as soon as she leaves, you just said, like, she's the only, cosmetic surgeon there, and she really is the business. This is an example of a business. It's got what you'd call concentration risk in the old accounting world, right? Where you've got too much reliance on one staff member or one client or one revenue stream. So she's got concentration risk left, right, and center. So therefore her valuation is going to be very poor in comparison to what it probably should be. So not a quick fix to what I just described, but this by explaining what I just, there'll be a recording of this up, right? Like by just explaining what I just explained, and there's no rocket science in there, it's going to put you in a position of, it's a little bit like we were talking to Courtney with earlier, like everybody's like, well, can I just hire you? You know what I mean? It's like, no, but like, so it's that you will demonstrate with that conversation and that positioning that you're the right guy to help direct her over the next, 1 to 3 years. So, and Profit Excel, everything you're looking for in terms of what should she put in place in order to box everything up so that she can sell it and she can get a proper valuation are the 12 areas of the Profit Jumpstart. We're right there staring at you on Pat's computer.
Yeah, I'd also add that question 6 there and question 7, business brokers, when they're looking to sell, as far as I understand, are looking for a business that has systems and processes, policies, procedures in place, things that are documented, right? And if they don't have those in place, the valuation of that business is very, very minimal or compared to what it could be.
Yeah, it's not plug and play at that point.
So part of your job might be to help them get these in place. And this is not something that happens over, 3 months, 4, 6 months. It's a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Excellent. Thank you.
There you go. That help?
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Yeah. Do you feel like you're armed, ready to go? When's your meeting with her?
Next Friday. So yeah, a week from Friday. She's going to be coming into town. She's in Reno, but she was going to be coming to Dallas. And so we're going to sit down, and she's agreed to let me video the meeting too, because that's going to be some good promo for me.
Perfect. Boom. There you go. I think Gershell's looking for a date. I don't know about what everybody else is thinking here.
No,
is that the mom or the daughter?
we went to high school together, and her and my wife are friends. So she's
oh, cool.
She's
okay, all right.
She was one of those late bloomers. Nobody dated her in high school, and now Lisa Bonet is asking her for beauty advice.
So, is that true? Really, Lisa Bonet? No joke.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, there you go. That's cool. No, that's a cool story, man. That's yeah. So good luck with it. Keep us posted. But there you go. I think that's some really valuable though, that you give her that chiropractic. Don't use it with her own. Use it like intentionally. Go to like an example of a chiropractor. Here's the trajectory of their business, and she'll get it. Versus if you start, I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I intentionally wouldn't use her in her own business. I would use the metaphor of chiropractor.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Urshel, we're going to put you back on mute, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. All right, we need a question. My boy James Lawson's got a question. Straight from Scotland. Yo, James. You are self-muted, buddy. You want to say hello? There he is. Yo, James.
Hello.
What's happening?
Hello.
Oh, it's Angela. Hello, Ange. How you doing, beautiful?
Scotsman is here too. He's not allowed into Scotland, actually.
They've already sent him out. I believe you.
I've been barred for life.
I've drank with James. I think he could have been deported from his own country. What's happening, guys? How's it going?
Good. Followed some of your advice last week, and we presented PAS to a group of business bankers on Friday and got a couple of hits already, so we're excited. So thank you for that. It was one of those, we got 10 minutes with them and just trying to get, an hour to walk them through. But we already got an introduction to one of their clients.
Can you just, for those that weren't here, could you just maybe give a real quick overview of what you did?
Sure. We had an opportunity to be in front of a business banker team leader that we've known for a long time, and he's got 6 regional guys. And so we basically had 10 minutes, and we talked about PAS software, essentially, finding their clients 50 to 100K in 45 minutes or less, the marketing
Yep.
terms that we use, right? Without any
Yep.
marketing or advertising. But the goal was to follow up with them to have a further call to walk them through the software, and then also be able to nominate up to 5 of their clients for us to walk through the software with, as well as, provide this in-depth report. So a couple of them already, like I said, jumped on it. So that's good. I mean, we'll continue to follow up with them. But I'm actually wanted to see how that went, because I know a few other business bankers that have teams. So I wanted to flesh this one out a little bit,
Yep. You felt good with it, though? You felt like it kind of flowed?
I did. I think the issue is going to be these guys, seeing the value and and you have to talk in banking language, right? And even though it's more marketing, but there's so many components of the software. We actually I think James cut the original promotion video down to 5 minutes versus 12. And he used kind of the ending part, which spoke more to the numbers. So it's really a matter of getting them to watch it, Carl, honestly.
Yeah.
And not everybody will.
Yeah, I mean, for these guys, Carl, the original video that came out, the first 7 minutes was all about the kind of marketing of it, whereas the last 5.5 minutes was more about showing them the software, the outputs, right, that type of thing. And for these guys, 5 minutes is probably about 3.5 minutes too long.
I know.
So
I hear you.
Yeah, so we gave them just the kind of the nuts and bolts. So yeah, we've already had a couple of nibbles already. So it's good.
So now we'll have to figure out the nurturing. Figure out, maybe you got some insights on how to follow up with them. But we followed up with, hey, book a call with us. Here's the 5-minute video, or the third option is just do an introduction to.
Couple.
Yeah.
So how I have always done that is just use the words test drive. So I would say to them, look, if you like what you just saw, here's the next step. This might be, we and our software might be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Maybe it's a big lead balloon. Take us for a test drive. Okay. Don't send us your worst. Don't send us your best. Send us 3 business owners. We will find them $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending $1 in marketing or advertising, quite frankly. And we'll probably book an hour and a half, because they'll have some questions and answers. But I'll tell you what, in that 90 minutes, I will change the person's life if they're willing to give themselves to the process. But let me prove it to you. Send me 3 folks. Again, not your best, not your worst, but that's the next step. That's the way I position it right there.
Okay. Yeah. Not worst, not best. Okay.
And then it's like you're putting the onus on them to, because some of them just they're enamored by it and they just want to talk to you to death, right? You guys have experienced that one. It's like, it's just so, it's like, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to, we're got 50 things going on and clients and president, you know what I mean? Like, you just position, remember, they want what they can't have, right? So it's not, the next step is not us chatting for a half an hour about, the weather. The next step is this. So God bless you folks. Have a great day. This is again, depending upon the dynamic of the meeting, but that's what I'm throwing to them. So
agreed. And no, I think that's good. And I think the folks that have a little higher knowledge of us and relationship, it's easier for them to trust that they can send us 3 people, right?
But that being said, actually, but I hear you, but I'd almost push back on that a little bit, where again, because those that don't, that level of confidence when they don't quite know you yet, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's
true.
The level of confidence that comes with that will be attractive.
Okay.
But you know what? Test it and see what you guys find out. But that would be my, you know what I mean? That would be the foundation of my close.
Yeah, I agree. I always dated confident men. Might as well go with that. That works.
That's how you ended up with Jamesy Boy. There we go. Love it. He got deported from his own country. There's no tougher man than a guy who gets deported from his own homeland.
So the other question. Okay.
There's always an outlier, right? That was me.
So the other question is, we have an opportunity. We're part of an organization that has several chamber members, so chamber executives, Carl, and they put out a newsletter every month. And essentially, we want to speak to them because we want to speak to their members, right?
Audience.
So I was trying to put some sort of how would you position an introduction to PAS or some sort of exclusive offer for just these members of this organization?
I think for you guys, you guys are really good presenters, and that's where you're comfortable. The ad and the promotion would be your presentation. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, because we've done that. You wouldn't, because we've done where we've identified two, especially the last one was in December. So we were identifying 2 webinars that we did, which was a planning one and a now revenue one. And they didn't get as many hits as we thought. So I'm just trying to do something that's more action oriented. But
okay. So 100. So then, if provided you're willing to do it, but a meeting where you'll find them $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra $1 on marketing or advertising. See if that gets more. But the problem with that is you won't have the presentation comes with magic, because you might not get as many, but they come, they see you do your magic, and we know they end up signing up and paying for, your offers.
You're right.
Versus if you take them straight to a meeting, you lose that, that 2-hour presentation you otherwise have that accelerates the sales process big time. So, because remember, the goal isn't hits, the goal is always clients, right? Internet marketers and digital marketers mess that one up all the time, looking for clicks and this, that. It's like, no, well, just show, how many clients. And it's not that clicks don't matter and registrations don't matter, because they do, but the real acid test is how many clients did we get?
Right.
So, making sure you're seeing all those metrics through to client. So less clicks might mean more clients is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Totally get it. No, believe me. Yeah, I totally get that. All right. So we'll continue. I think it's more about the, a title that is just going to get a couple people interested. And that's all I want. A couple of EDs have jumped on our webinars. So it really
What's the title of your webinar now? What's the one that you did? And then, do you remember?
Well, we did the now revenue one. I don't know which one.
Yeah, we've done probably 5 different webinars, Carl, over the last probably 6 months, from now revenue to 5 decisions to 6 figures, to how to get a continuous flow of leads.
Yeah, that's the latest one. So it's like 4 steps to getting a continuous flow of leads in 2021.
So what pulled the best out of the 6? What pulled the best?
The leads.
Yeah.
Leads?
The leads.
Yep.
It's more recent.
I mean, people like to think that they've got what's the word? Wants and aspirations, but the reality is that they're dealing with like real problems right now, and that's where their focus is. So that's kind of where we've been pulling it down from kind of high level aspirational to like, what do you need to get done in your business the next,
2021. I mean, if pivoting worked for a while, right? That transitioning, that pivoting, now revenue, and now it's more about like making 2021 successful. So it's more than just immediate, but it is about generating leads and that kind of continuous flow.
But these are 2 different markets, Carl. I mean, the PE, the PAS software, we are targeting larger organizations than we are for the other program we've got, which is more for kind of like early stage businesses and their marketing. So
the chamber promotion. Sorry, but the chamber promotion is going to be early stage. Like, these aren't the big corporations, right? These are the small business guy, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But
go.
When we actually went out and used the PES as a tool to generate conversations, believe it or not, what actually happened with some of those conversations is they were like, James, I don't know if we're big enough for this. And I just went, okay, well, let's get on a call and let's kind of see where you are. And what we did was we actually pivoted the call away from PES more to what's your communication system look like. And we sold them into a 12-week program right there. Boom. Really simple. So PAS got them into a conversation, but not everyone's ready for what this thing delivers. So the business bankers are definitely in that 500,000 into kind of $10 million price range, right? Revenue range, which is perfect for this.
Perfect.
Got it.
Hey, Carl.
Well, there you go. Just some experiment. Oh, go, Pat. Sorry.
Sorry, we have to jump because we're overtime here. Okay. Adrian's up.
Two bananas.
I don't want
anyway,
to go yet.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Good touch, James. Yeah, there you go. But I just, in closing, I think I would be experimenting with something like, the thing that's just come and pop it into my head, but quote unquote, the comeback, and then just, how to bounce back, after a pandemic and then enter suburb. Something like that would be cool.
Love it. Thank you. As always.
Come back. Awesome. Okay, guys, appreciate you guys. Going to put you back on mute. And there we go. Pat, thank you for alerting me. So there we go. Pat, any closing words here, buddy?
Oh, just a reminder that I think it's you on covering the call on Thursday at the same time, regular Thursday.
Yes.
And I'll be back on
3 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Yeah. 3 o'clock Pacific. There we go. Cool bananas. Okay, guys. Awesome. Okay. Appreciate you, Pat. Appreciate you guys for playing full out, and we will see you on Thursday.
Right, bye-bye.